So a frequent question I get is, why is inventory so low? How come there's so few houses to sell? I want to sell my house, but I don't know where I'm going to go. Things like that. So there's a lot of reasons, but I'll tackle the first most obvious ones. First of all, we're not building. In 2007, for example, Westchester and Putnam combined for about 1,500 new builds listed. In 2022, 15 years later, that number went from over 1,500 to just over 300. That is a big cut. The second thing is that foreclosures and distress are really not out there anymore. There's no bargains. There's no bank-owned foreclosures. There's no one facing foreclosure because we're still kind of distancing ourselves from this big moratorium on foreclosures during COVID. Now, the moratorium's over, but that put the hourglass upside down on hundreds of distressed properties going through the foreclosure process, and it may be years before they meander through the courts and become bank-owned foreclosures or become a fire sale. So new builds and distress, two huge sectors that are virtually non-existent. The other thing, and this is sort of a new phrase, and I wish I made it up, is the golden handcuffs. We have millions and millions of people out there with interest rates on their current homes at like 3 and 4%. And they might organically move right now, either because they need to downsize or because, they're going to upgrade, move up is a big sector. Well, if you're paying 3.5% and you're going to buy a more expensive home, but you're looking at rates at 7%, there's a lot of people that can't absorb almost double the current mortgage payment. So that is causing a lot of people to stay put. And the overall effect is sort of this paralysis of uncertainty. Millions of people who would list their home for sale, but don't because they simply don't know where they're going to go. Now, what can happen and what's going to cause the market to return to normal, whatever that is something I'll handle in a future video. But the lack of building, the lack of distress, and the paralysis of uncertainty from not knowing where you're going to go and not wanting to double your payment if you're going to move up because of the change in rates all contribute to the current situation that we now see. We'll talk again.